I think your place is at Mrs. Morris's illustrious school, although what it is that they do there is beyond me. A bit of magic and witchcraft, I suppose. Drusilla has just left her orphanage to attend a witching school on the other side of town. She is greeted by an unfriendly student who escorts her to the nurse's office. You must go to Nurse Mooney, who will delouse you. We can't have orphans with lice invading our school. No, don't protest. Just close your mouth and follow me. Drusilla followed the girl down a dark corridor to the nurse's office. With each step, she thought over the life events that had led her to the front door of Mrs. Morris's. It was true that she had always felt different than the other orphans at Trixie's. She shunned play and felt more at home in the books she found in the orphanage's library. By the age of 10, she had taught herself a fair amount of Latin, Italian, French, and a rustic Himalayan dialect, which used long strokes for an alphabet. It was known as Tepodin. This ancient Himalayan dialect helped in her correspondence to a peasant boy who lived at the foot of Mount Everest. Among other things, she intended to grow up and marry her peasant pen pal and retire in the shady slopes outside of Kathmandu. Life had thrown her a curveball when Madame Trixie came toddling down the hall, holding the invitation. I do not believe Nepal is for you, my dear. Rather, I think your place is at Mrs. Morris's illustrious school, although what it is that they do there is beyond me. A bit of magic and witchcraft, I suppose. And you get to wear a lovely brown cloak. It was all Madame Trixie could do to not show her distaste when uttering the word brown. While Trixie's occupied a sunny corner of Blessings Hollow, Mrs. Morris's school was halfway up a constantly overcast side of a cliff that overlooked the Atlantic. It took 300 death-defying steps to reach the front door of the Victorian castle. The castle was comprised of multiple wings, numerous towers, and a sprinkling of turrets. What happened on the other side of that door, nobody could say, for the girls who attended Mrs. Morris's were seldom seen out and about. They were known to be reclusive and elitist. Even if one of them were to be caught out and about, they would never divulge any information about the school, only repeating its motto, Mrs. Morris's School for Wayward Girls and Other Exotic Creatures is very reclusive and very elite. Only fine quality sorts admitted, references checked, pedigrees preferred. The school name was a bit of a misnomer, the nurse explained, as Drusilla sat on crinkly paper that covered a stainless steel examining table. The woman had the eyes of a cow, large and watery. On top of her head, she wore a frilly lace nurse's cap that perched like a fascinator. While the nurse talked, Drusilla examined the strange anatomical drawings on the office walls. Drawn on aged vellum, they looked medieval. A few of the drawings were of animals. There was a strange one of a snake, which appeared larger widthwise than an anaconda. Below it was printed the words, "Fire snake." There was another one of some sort of camel creature with 5 humps. This one was titled, "5-Humped Creature." The rest were of the human body. There were drawings of feet, lungs, nostrils, hearts, and livers. One drawing was especially gruesome. It showed a person, possibly a doctor or barber, sawing off another patient's leg with a hacksaw. The patient smiled in delight.
Long ago, we used to take in the occasional wayward girl,
Mooney chit-chatted.
That's how the school got its name. But we are done with that. It's by invitation only now, and only to girls of fine families. Tell me, what do your parents do for a living?
Seemed rude to blurt out they don't do anything for a living because they're dead, so Drusilla considered her options as the nurse plunged a tongue depressor into her mouth. My father died not long after he deposited me on the doorsteps of Trixie's with a note. I don't know what was written on that note because it was burned accidentally during the great paper shortage. I only know my name, Drusilla Gobblestone, and that my father disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The nurse understood only bits of this, as talking with a tongue depressor in one's mouth is not conducive to elocution.
Stick out your tongue. Never heard of the great paper shortage. I don't know what Trixie's is. That's it. A little farther. Good. Great then. Tell me who your mother is.
Drusilla repeated herself with a,
well, like I said, I will drop off on the doorsteps of Trixie's. Didn't this Trixie teach you manners, Mooneytist? Wait for me to extract the tongue depressor before speaking. Now, who did you say your mother is?
I don't know. Drusilla repeated her life story.
Hold on a second. You say you're an orphan.
This seemed a sticking point for the inhabitants of Mrs. Morris's. Regardless, Drusilla gave a nod.
And when you say you were dropped off on the doorstep of Trixie, you mean the Tri-State Orphanage? The one run by Madame Beatrix. You're an orphan and you've been admitted to this school?
Drusilla waved her invite around once more.
Oh, no. We must speak with the headmistress. I fear there is some mistake. We no longer admit wayward girls. Like I said, it's a misnomer. Although we have exotic creatures high and low, that part of the name is true. We shall have to speak with the headmistress. You do not belong here.